Hey guys, it's Liz here. This is my Geek Aire 10-inch portable camping fan. I've been using this fan for a few months now. You can check out how it performs in all these different tests and experiments that I'm going to go through with you in this video, and hopefully that gives you all the info you need on this. First up, let's start with the unboxing. I picked up this Geek Aire from Amazon a few months ago. Here are some shots of what it looks like, brand new, without unboxing it yet, just in case you want to check out what it looks like. I'll try to show you all sides of the packaging right now on the screen. Now here are some shots of me unboxing it, and after that I'll show you what I got out of the box. So basically I got the fan itself, a provided charger, a user guide, and that's the empty box right there with nothing left inside. You can use this fan out of the box because it comes partially charged, but I can't remember how much charge it had though. Maybe 60 to 80% or so. Not a full charge, so I highly recommend charging it before taking it camping. Charging it is the only power source of this fan, and it says here that the charging time comes in at between 2 to 2.5 hours. To do so, just grab the provided charger. This is a 12-volt AC adapter. Plug this end into the outlet here like this, and the other end into this power input here. After you do so, the first red power indicator will start blinking, and that's how you know that it's charging. Less than 5 minutes later, the second light, this time it's blue, will start blinking. Less than another 5 minutes later, the third light will blink. About half an hour in, the fourth light comes on. Less than an hour in, the last light starts blinking, and about 1.5 hours in, the entire fan is fully charged. When it comes to using and testing this fan, this control panel right here is the most important part of the fan. It not only has the power indicator lights, but also an adjustment knob to control the fan speed. The knob starts off in this position. This means that the fan's off, and when you turn it clockwise a little bit, it'll click. The power lights will come on, and this is the lowest fan speed that you can get. You can keep turning the knob clockwise. It turns more than 270 degrees around, and this is the highest fan speed you can get. To turn the fan off, just turn the knob anti-clockwise. It'll click into place when the fan goes off, and the power lights go off as well. Now, what exactly are the fan speeds that we're dealing with here? The lowest fan speed, so that's when the fan's just turned on, comes in at only about 1.5 to 1.6 meters or 5 feet per second. For me, this is just a very gentle breeze. You literally have to be sitting at most 1 foot away from the fan to be able to feel it, and I never use this speed because it's way too light and doesn't cool me off very much. On the other hand, the highest speed with the knob turned up all the way comes in at about 3.8 to 3.9 meters or 13 feet per second. You can also turn the knob just 90 plus degrees or so to get a speed of about 2.5 to 2.6 meters or 8.2 feet per second. This is much better than the lowest speed of 1.5 meters per second. You can also turn it about 180 plus degrees and you'll get a speed of about 3.3 meters or about 10.8 feet per second. I also wanted to measure the max airflow distance that this Geek Aire can give us, so I had to sit in a room with no wind at all. I put the anemometer up close to the fan and slowly increased the distance from the fan. Then I located the spot where the meter hit a 0 reading. Notice that at this spot, the blades of the meter are still turning. You can see a little bit of a wind speed reading at times, but most of the time it's just a 0 reading. The distance from the fan here came in at about 132 inches or 11 feet or about 3.3 meters. And that's the Geek Aire fan over there running on the highest power. I did the exact same thing with the lowest power mode, and that gave me a max distance of only a measly 16 inches or 1.3 feet or 0.4 meters because, like I mentioned, you can't really feel much of a wind speed here. When it comes to tent camping, I camped out with this Geek Aire in a 6-person Coleman Sundome, and I laid out a measuring tape diagonally across the tent, which was more than 11 feet. Unfortunately, when I used a windmill to test out a fan, it stopped spinning for me at about the 9-foot mark. So that's about the usable distance for the fan. Anything more, so 9 to 11 feet on the highest mode, will give you nothing more than a little bit of light air which you can barely even feel. If you're using this Geek Aire across the width of the Sundome that's slightly less than 9 feet, notice the windmill keeps spinning even right at the other end. Overall, I'd say that this fan is great for a 6-person tent or any smaller tent, but nothing too much bigger. Now, when it comes to the noise level of this fan, I tested this using a sound meter. Here's the base sound level with the fan turned off, and the reading comes in at about 41 decibels. On the lowest mode, the sound meter barely even goes up at about 42 decibels because remember, this mode is way too light to cool anyone down. Somewhere in between, the sound meter goes up to about 55 decibels, just to give you a rough indication, and on the highest speed, that comes in at about 66 decibels. Now, I'll also try to hold the fan up to the mic to let you hear what it sounds like. Next up, let's talk about capacity. This Geek Aire has 3 cells, each with a capacity of 2000 milliampere hour, so that gives us a total capacity of 6000. That's a pretty big capacity, so how long can this fan run for? Well, it says here that it's between 4.5 to 24 hours, so that is the official specs. Let me fill it into my table right now, so we've got 4.5 hours and 24 hours. When I tested this on the lowest setting of 1.5 meters, or 5 feet per second, I got a total timing of 29.5 hours, plus 1 last hour where I couldn't feel anything at all, but the fan blades were still spinning. On the other hand, the highest setting gave me about 6 hours, so basically I got more than what I was expecting with this fan. And just in case you need a little more info on a pretty high wind speed of 3 meters or almost 10 feet per second, I got a total runtime of 9 hours and 15 minutes. And on a medium setting of 2.3 meters or 7.5 feet per second, I got a runtime of a whopping 20 hours. Next up, I also tested out the power indicator lights to find out if they're accurate. Altogether, there are 5 lights, and I don't know if this will turn out on camera, and it says here that each of them is 20%, so we have the first light at 20, second at 40, then 60, 80, and then 100%. Then I also took note of the timings when I was running the low speed test and the high speed test, and here are all my actual tested results. Overall, I would say that the lights are pretty accurate, and you can check out my test results here to get a better idea of how much battery you would have left when each of the lights are on. It was really easy for me to do the accuracy test because the lights always stay on, so you don't have to turn on and off the fan to check on the battery level. But is it too bright? Well, here's what the lights look like in the dark, and while it's not the brightest, if you like things pitch black at night when you sleep, then you do have to cover it with something. There's a nice handle at the back of the fan. It fits my hand perfectly, making it easy to pick this up and carry it around to wherever you want to go. This fan can also be rotated 360 degrees, which is nice for a camping fan. At the 2 sides of the fan, there are 2 of these knobs here, and these say tighten and loosen, so just follow the arrows. You're supposed to loosen it to spin the fan and then tighten it when you find the right position. But to be honest, I don't ever do this. I just leave it as it is, not too tight but not too loose at the same time, and I just spin it around whenever I want to without ever tightening or loosening. I'm just lazy like that. The fan also has these anti-slip rubber feet at the bottom of the fan. There are 3 of these at the base, which is nice to have. I also thought the base of the fan was pretty wide too, so I found it stable even on slightly uneven ground like when you're tent camping. This fan has a waterproof rating of IPX4, which means it should be fine in light to moderate rain. And when I rain tested this fan through 30 minutes of moderate rain to test exactly that, and I'll put some shots of the rain testing on the screen here for you to check out, I found that it held up perfectly fine. The control panel at the back was still working great, all the different fan speeds still worked great, although I did notice that the power input plug was completely filled with water. So I guess that's why this has a max IPX4 rating. It's not meant to take hours of heavy rain. Almost the entire fan is made out of metal, which I prefer to other plastic fans on the market. The only part that isn't metal is the back control panel right here. What a pity though, because the rest of the fan is actually really nice and hardy. As for weight, this fan comes in at about 61.7 ounces or 1.75 kilograms if you need that conversion. The pack size measures about 14 by 12 inches or 35 by 30 inches for the length and the width at the front of the fan, and the depth for the fan comes in at about 5.5 inches or 14 centimeters. And the face of the fan comes in at about 10.5 inches or 27 centimeters, while the size of the blades come in at about 8.5 inches across or 22 centimeters. The length of the warranty comes in at about 1 year. It says so right here on the box when you buy it. There are loads of pros to this Geek Aire. The first one is probably the super fast charging option, which I think is great to have, especially if there's a power outlet nearby that you can use for a little while. On top of that, I love the adjustment knob. Unlike most fans that come with discrete select mode and you can't pick from anything in between, this Geek Aire allows me to pick from every different kind of fan speed. It ranges from just 1.5 meters to a whopping 3.9 meters per second. That's 5 to 13 feet per second. And I can pick from anything in between, so like 2 meters per second, 2.5, 3, 3.5, and so on. The airflow distance is great too, and this is perfect if you have a 4 to 6% tint. The base is also very stable, and the 360-degree tilting angle is super useful, which is great for tent camping. And most camping fans out there don't have waterproof ratings, but this Geek Aire has an IPX4 rating. The indicator lights are accurate, like what I showed you in test number 11, and it has very decent run times, like what I showed you in test number 10. For me, this can last for 2, maybe 3 days of camping. It would have been able to last longer if there was a sleep timer to conserve battery at night though, and here's where we get into the cons. Here are some features that other fans have that the Geek Aire doesn't. There's no sleep timer, no lighting features, and no charge out function. The warranty is also relatively short for such an expensive fan, but I think that's all the cons I have. If you're looking for a relatively big camping fan like a 10, 12, or even 16-inch camping fan, Geek Aire has got you covered. And yeah, it doesn't have the most features, but it does fantastic with the ones that it does have, and I'd highly recommend it if you're looking for something big and heavy duty. If you're looking for something smaller to use in a 2, maybe 4-person tent instead, because you don't need such a big fan, check out this video on the screen here because I'll give you the exact answer there. Thank you for watching this, and I'll see you in that one.